Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. Holy Toledo. Hope everybody's having a great day. We see Palantir Technologies at a new all-time high. Since we've been covering this stock for the previous few years, getting a lot of criticism across the board, look where it is now. So congratulations to all the bulls out there, people that have been following along on Palantir's journey. We see it up here at $130, basically doing very well. Now the question is, with this momentum, how far will Palantir achieve to? We see some new price targets like from Bank of America and a lot of buying pressure coming into the market with Trump, big CEOs also in the Saudis right now making some big deals. We have NVDA that brings a ton of buying pressure into the market, continuing, and we see the broader index that is officially flipped to the green year to date. Anybody that got in on the tariff dip is looking pretty good right now. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos. It really helps the algorithm. Thank you guys so much. Pop it up right here. Palantir closes at market close at 128.10 with an insane amount of volume coming out of 147 million. And now Palantir is officially above a $300 billion market cap. Now, the point, and then we talked about before, we talked about this in the previous videos, once Palantir broke this all-time high, and we literally talked about it in yesterday's video with this buy point at this 125 that was being highlighted from a technical basis. If Palantir was able to break out that resistance point at the previous all-time high, the question is, where was this breakout going to lead us? And now we're into the price discovery in the FOMO phase for Palantir with a lot of optimism in the market generally, where people are thinking, okay, now how high is Palantir going to go? Especially with the recent, critical partnerships that Palantir has made. Now Alex Karp is over in the Saudis, probably making some more deals that will be announced. This is where you have price discovery that gets set in. Right now in the overnight hours, trading at 129.47, so up about another $1.37 and looking very healthy. Palantir stock, analysts are starting to revamp their price targets. We know Palantir has really defied a lot of the big tech stocks that have actually been struggling this year with the tariff uncertainties. Palantir is up year to date, gains of about 60%, out competing many of the other big stocks that it is up against. Now, looking at Bank of America, they see very big things for Palantir. And talking about here, many tech stocks, kicked out this week by surging with the modest growth that we saw. Palantir did close out in the green, and now we're seeing a significant amount of buying pressure. Wall Street Bank reiterated a buy rank right here, Bank of America, from Palantir to its forecast. 125, upgraded it to 150, implying another upside of 27%. And it says, while they say here, there's some value for General Tools, they continue to remind investors Palantir's value is creating outcome-focused, bespoke AI-enabled products at scale. They see Palantir as the market definer for organizations leveraging AI to drive accelerated, tangible results. Whoa, that's a word mumble jumble. Basically, they're bringing true utility in AI solutions to companies that want to utilize AI and want to see the benefits of AI within their companies, a return on investment, a return on the products that they're investing in. Palantir is at the forefront of this niche in the AI market and competition, and doesn't really have a ton of competition because it is so far ahead of the game. So great to see here. We see here Wedbush, analyst Dan Ives, also increasing their price targets from 120 to 140, implying another 18% potential upside. So we see Palantir on the run, continuing, moving along with the markets right here. Markets close above 0.72. S&P 500 index now sits at 58.86. The question is 6,000 on the table here in the next month for the S&P 500 index to hit, with the NASDAQ climbing up about 1.6%. Now, one of the big things that we see is that NVIDIA helps lead chip stocks higher in optimism about new partnerships and trade deals. NVIDIA does very well today, surging up over about another 5%. at closing at 129.93 in the after hours, continuing to push, currently at 132.47. Now, NVIDIA jumped over 6% here. We see AMD also setting up quite well. Currently looking at AMD sitting at 112. This was just at $100 ago, a few days ago, ladies and gentlemen. So what we see here with NVIDIA and AMD surging here after the company said that they would supply semiconductors to the Saudi Arabian AI startup Humane as part of its initiatives announced as President Trump's kicked off her 4-day trip to the Middle East, starting in Saudi Arabia. Now, a part of this partnership with Humane, Jensen, right here, the CEO of NVIDIA, announced on stage at an event that the company said it will deploy several 100,000, not a few thousand, several 100,000 of NVIDIA's most advanced GPUs over the next 5 years, starting with 18,000 Grace Blackwell AI supercomputers with NVIDIA's InfiniBand networking technology. Wow, that is a big deal here. And meanwhile, AMD, hopping right on the train, said it and Humane would invest up to $10 billion over the next 5 years to build out AI computing centers stretching from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to the United States. Looking here at the announcements, these are coming as Trump reportedly looks to secure $1 trillion in investment and trade pledges from Saudi Arabia. So wow, some big partnerships. And you can see a lot of bullishness coming into NVIDIA. This is helping bring a lot of optimism back into the market. On top of that, one of the big key things that we were also keeping an eye on today that we talked about yesterday was the inflation data. And following that, we're seeing stocks that were soaring as sentiment even gets a further boost this morning after inflation came in milder than the economists had expected. The consumer price index rose at an annual rate of 2.3% in April, marking the lowest level of the 12-month inflation since early of 2021. And showing here the tariff that the U.S. had imposed on leading trading partners recently weren't expected to show up in the April report. What were going to be the effects of the tariffs that were imposed, but the numbers provided an indication of how much inflationary pressure there is heading into a period. Talking about here, levies are likely to push up prices. So we have some mix of the tariffs being placed. Inflation still comes in lower than economists had expected. That is a big win. Also helped push some of the other Magnificent Seven stocks up. We see Tesla, Meta, Amazon, Apple, Google, and Microsoft kind of all gaining, says Microsoft here closed fractionally lower, but a lot of the Magnificent Seven stocks doing very well. Along with Palantir, you also have, like I said, AMD, super microcomputer jumping 16%, and you see shares of Coinbase cryptocurrency following a 24% push that the crypto exchange is going to be added into the S&P 500. So where we sit right now is talking about where the futures, they're kind of sitting flat right now. The NASDAQ has been on an incredible run. We've seen 5 days of a winning streak and doing very well. Little change here. Wall Street looking to extend a strong start to the week. Will this continue? What we do have is a little bit of risk for downside potential, of course, with the volatility that we are seeing in the market. However, the overall optimism is pretty unprecedented. What we're also seeing with some of your stocks that we've been talking about, HIMS completely on a run here, up about 16% at $64. You see Tempest, remember Tempest got a lot of trendiness behind it after Pelosi had to disclose her position in this security right here, up about 9%, nearly touching $70 as we speak. And we're seeing some of the other stocks like Tesla also starting a run. Tesla at 334 here, 336 in the after hours, continuing to rise, and even in the overnight hours is at like 340 right now. So a lot of optimism coming into the market, especially here with Apple doing well, back up about 212. So we sit here. Question is, how high is this current swing going to go? What is the rest of the week going to look like? That is going to be a big question. What we do have with Palantir, though, like I said, entering into this price discovery mode. We'll see what happens with any kind of consolidation phases. But right now, I guess everybody could just be enjoying the rides on their long positions. We're seeing a lot of options volume coming in terms of call premiums. So not just on Palantir, on many other stocks. Where are you guys all sitting at? What's your opinion on this? And for the rest of the week here, do you think we're going to see a little bit of a cool off, or is this just going to continue to run? That's all what I have for you guys. Take care. Peace out. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.